Looks like we are ready to get started. Well, welcome everybody to Mappy Hour. This is our happy hour for those of us who love maps, also known as geocachers. So cheers, everybody. We have made it to another Friday. Yeah, and another Mappy Hour. So good to see you all tonight. Hmm. All right, let me maximize my screen here. And yeah, so our topic tonight is about publishing geocaches. It's been a little while since we've actually talked about some of the basics really of geocaching, such as, just good old-fashioned publishing caches. So we have to have caches for us to go out and find. Not all of us are hiders, but I think most of us have experience with that and can share some of our best practices and maybe even share some of our favorite caches and how we put together our cache pages and such. But before we get there, I do have notes from the field where everyone gets a chance to share for 2 minutes what sort of geocaching activities y'all have been up to for the last couple of weeks or so, or maybe what you have planned, maybe like a new cache hide coming up. Um, but before we get there, I see hands already coming up, so awesome. Only let more folks in for the waiting room. There we go. I do have some ground rules just to keep this moving along smoothly. Of course, keep yourself on mute unless you have been called on to share. But if you have something to contribute to the conversation here in the Zoom room, just wave if you're out of order, and hopefully we will see you and bring you in. If you're watching us on YouTube, hey, all of my YouTube friends over there, Kid Vegas 19 is monitoring all of that. So just go ahead and type into the comments, and then he'll bring your comments, answers, questions into the discussion with us here. And of course, keep it family friendly. Treat this like you would any other geocaching event. This is being live broadcast to our Cache Advance YouTube channel. And then we'll be going into our Cache GPT for longevity, storage, binge watching, and also training our cache AI. Get more folks coming in here. There we go. And no spoilers. We were just watching the Gonzaga game, but we didn't get a chance to finish it. I know it's over, but we don't want to know. So obviously no sports spoilers, so we appreciate that. Oop, let me get more folks in the waiting room. All right, good, good. I think those are pretty much the basics. Anything to add?
No, that's what I remember.
Okay, yeah. We do have a hard stop right at the top of the hour. We have to be in Idaho, and shortly thereafter, and it's stormy. Well, not stormy, but anyway. So we have a hard stop. So we have another appointment that we have to get to.
That's right. All the way to Idaho.
Yeah, which we can see from here.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah, that's true. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So, so we will be wrapping this up. Unless your conversation goes on and somebody wants to host, keeping it going. That's always an opportunity too. But yeah, let's see here. We've got folks popping in on chat. Love to know where everybody is from. We've got California, Pittsburgh, Washington, Florida, Michigan. Of course, we're in Washington State. So good to see you all. Awesome. All right, well, what was that? North Pole. Oh, like it. Yeah. We have Santa in the house tonight. I love it. Awesome. All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and pop over to notes from the field. So love to know what y'all been up to. So I think we've got who's first? Mike and then Lori. So go ahead, Mike.
Okay, yeah. The day after the last call, I had an interesting case of timing is everything. I was prepping to go shopping at BJ's, a local warehouse type outfit like Costco or Sam's Club, and I got hit with two pings on my phone for new caches.
Ooh.
I had to drive a whole half mile past BJ's to get to them. Yeah, I duly found them. Noted in the log that it was about the timing issue that I was going to BJ's anyway and just had to overshoot to get the cache. And then at the caches, there were two of them. the one in the core parking lot, one along the back of the building. And so, and I just thought that was tremendously amusing. It's like I'm already getting ready to go out and ping, hey, there's two geocaches just past where you're going.
That's perfect timing. So you got both first to finds?
Yep.
Awesome.
So,
Love
and
that.
amusingly enough, they were hidden by one of the people I'm in competition for FTFs for in this area.
All right.
Oh, well, you can't find your own cache, so that
Yeah.
was helpful for
Yeah,
you.
so that's why it's amusing. So
Mhm,
well, about half the time when I'm going after an FTF, he gets to it before I do. So,
mhm.
mhm.
All right.
Nice.
Well, cool. Congrats. All right, Lori, and then Vince.
All right, sorry about that. And you're extended on my TV, and so it takes me a moment to wiggle the mouse over there.
Oh, okay.
Ah, nice.
Um, so this last week I hosted my CCE, and just prior to that, we had gone out and did some caching, and I finally caught up on my logs. You know, my logs are not like others. I only was like, 12 behind. Um, but when I caught up, I realized that I was at 83.98. And
Ooh.
I'm like, oh, my CCE's in 2 days. I get one more, and my CCE can be my 8,400th find.
Mhm.
So that was my CCE. But it was really cool as I did this a couple years ago and I did it again this year, is we have a local escape room and you can rent boxes and they're like the old voting booths. We're all old enough to remember those. I
Mhm.
don't think I see any youngins on here. um, and they come closed and they have a book with them and you work your way through them to get to the end. And so that was a hit. Sadly, one of them they got partway through it and the battery of one of the devices had been left on, so it was dead.
Mhm.
And so they weren't able to complete it. And the company was really nice. The escape room, I went and I returned it and I stated what was wrong. And I politely said, can I get a partial refund? Because we weren't able to use one of the, do one of the cases. And he's like, absolutely. And they gave me a refund. And then they turned around and they said, well, since you didn't get to use it, let me know when you're getting together again and we'll see if the date's available and we'll let you have it for so you guys can do it again. So I was expecting one out of three cases. So I got three cases and one was disabled. And no, they're giving me all three cases again for free
Oh, wow.
to
Nice.
use. And so I'm using them for my WSGA, my Washington State Geocaching Association's um, holiday party that I'm hosting for my chapter in not this weekend, but next weekend. So that kind of worked out.
I'll say.
So
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's really good
yeah.
customer service on that company. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Mhm.
I was not expecting them to, offer it up again for free. I mean, I had to pay the deposit, the damage deposit, and then I'll
Mhm.
get that damage deposit back when I return them. So I was like, wow, that was really awesome. They went above and beyond, and I even told them that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Oh,
cool.
cool. Yeah, those sound like fun.
Yeah, I
I
do.
wonder if our escape room might do
Have
that.
something like that that they rent out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
this one they have three cases. It's both 150, so they have two options. Three cases, which take about 20 minutes to go through. And then or they have one big one that takes like an hour to go through.
Mhm.
So I choose the smaller one, so more people can rotate through and enjoy them.
Yeah. That sounds perfect.
Mhm.
Well, fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Right,
Now I'll
we've
go
got.
back to my sneezing.
Oh, yeah, you sound stuffed up. Hope you're feeling better
I
soon.
am.
All
All right.
right, we've got Vince and then Scott.
Yeah, now that the winter weather is kind of set in and cold weather, haven't been doing a whole lot of geocaching other than you know, just hitting events and stuff. And there's been plenty of those, especially now that everybody's trying to use up their CCE events. And actually, I hosted mine tonight. We had our Christmas potluck here in West Michigan, and actually, I did have a very nice did have a visitor here.
Oh, sweet.
Bob says
Bob?
hello. He says I told him I'd say hello to everybody if I got home on time because actually he's probably in the air right now because he flew here and then somebody picked him up from a local airport and now he's flying home. So he's somewhere up in the sky somewhere. But anyway, yeah. So just a lot of events and there's plenty of those with all the CCE events that got to be used
Mhm.
up. So and we're making preparations too because we've got like a winter series that we put out that comes out uh New Year's Eve. A bunch of winter friendly caches. Collect the code and then go get the final.
Oh,
So
nice. Well, that'll be fun. Good thing to do for
Might
winter coming on.
blend in with our topic tonight.
Yeah, I think so. Talking about publishing caches. Yeah. Awesome. Let's see, it's Scott next.
Well, 2 weeks ago, I forgot to mention probably the most important thing that had happened the previous 2 weeks. And that was that I got my locationless cache as my as a milestone cache. Don't need to mention the
Ah.
number, but it was a milestone cache,
Mhm.
and that was really good. Probably the most significant thing about that is they were also this year we could also get the block party. So I got the block party in May and the locationless in November. So that was pretty fun. Uh,
Yeah.
let's see, I'm going to put it in the chat in case anybody wants to see it at any time. Also created a video this time. This actually thought I published it last night. Turns out I just published it 1 second ago because it wasn't published. It was private.
Oh.
So got that done. Um, I do have to mention that I did get to listen to Cash Like a Girl, where you talked to Amy, and you guys did a great job. She is such a really good podcaster. I've been a guest several times. She is always so prepared, and yet you can just have a conversation. It sounds like a conversation instead of reading off a bunch of questions because she doesn't just read off a bunch of questions. And then I helped a friend create an Earth cache over at the Getty Center, which is a major free museum up here in Los Angeles. And she created an Earth cache, and I was like, well, this would be a good place for an adventure lab. So I'm in the process of creating an adventure lab there. And she thought, oh, that is a good place for an adventure lab. So she has created an adventure lab there. So although it's $25 to park if you don't take public transport to get there, there's going to be 2 adventure labs, an Earth cache, and there's a virtual there also. So
Oh.
might be worth the trip. And you get to, of course, visit the Getty Center with its beautiful gardens and amazing museum. So that's it.
That's awesome. That sounds a lot like the Crystal Bridges that we did in Arkansas. It's all free. And there were 2 ALs outside and an Earth cache.
Mhm.
And there was a regular traditional on site
On
as well.
site, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Outside, but yeah, I assume they had permission to hide it. I didn't ask, but it'd been there a while. Yeah. Well, cool. That's great. So, I was working on, what topic to have for tonight, which is about publishing caches. And then I thought it also kind of rolls into Earth caches. So that we might be talking more about Earth caches in 2 weeks. So,
oh, I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So keep all of that fresh in your mind.
I will do that.
Awesome. All right, I think we have Melissa next.
Hi, yes, it's been busy. I've been on grandma duty a lot. Um and got all the Christmas cookies baked, the decorating's in process. But in amongst that, I managed to finish my treasure for scenic views.
Oh,
And I've been working on a couple of the others. Um, been very hit or miss, but I have also tonight's topic. I've placed two, and I have two in holding. I just got permission from the one park. I had it, but I just got permission so I can get it published. And I have another one. It just has to be written up. It's out in the field already before the snow hit. So there's no foot tracks to it.
Ah, nice.
So I have two I need to get written up, but it's
Mhm.
going to be a busy weekend. I have two big geocaching events. My husband and I are actually driving all the way to Northwest Ohio on Sunday for Bob and Nancy's.
Oh, fun.
And one of the local ladies about an hour from here does a big one, and that's tomorrow. So
Oh, wow.
I've been squeezing geocaching in there.
Yeah, very, very good. Well done. Well, be sure to give Bob and Nancy our best
Mhm.
hellos and regards. Yeah. Wish we lived closer.
Yeah, I wish they lived closer.
Yeah, you too. Yeah.
It's about a 4.5 hour drive.
Oh my.
Hey,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, be safe out there. Have a good time. Yeah. Well, we've done not a lot of caching. You've done a lot of hiking.
Yeah.
Yeah, hunting season.
But yeah, not a lot of caching.
No, I did one, sort of. Yeah, so we were staying over at my brother's in Whitehall, Montana, while my brother and JD went hunting over Thanksgiving weekend. So we drove out Wednesday before
Mhm.
Thanksgiving and then came home Sunday. And my brother's new girlfriend wanted to know what geocaching was all about and how it worked. So we actually went out for a walk. It was walking distance to a cache that I hid in town. So we walked out there. And so I got to do maintenance on my cache. It was just fine. The replacement cache, it was originally like a
Bird.
fake bird feeder.
Mhm.
Now it's just a bison. But that seems to be what's going to work there. Just outside of a cemetery, but there's just not much cover. It's pretty dry area there in Whitehall, and really not too many places to hide things. So yeah, so I had fun showing somebody how geocaching worked and getting to know this lady a little better. So that was fun. And then the blizzard moved in, and it was just awful and very cold and windy the rest of the week. So this
Scott.
guy got out and about. Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
So is she hooked or did she not take the bait?
I'm not sure. Yeah, the jury's out yet. Yeah. Unfortunately, she had a little accident later that night and wasn't up to doing much else after that. So yeah, I don't know though. She was very curious. Yeah. I'll report back in 2 weeks. I'll find out. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I spent some time this week in the evening lining up which treasures I want to get
Mhm.
and I found out for me the tools of the trade, that treasure map is really bare for me around here. So
Oh,
we
okay.
might have to
Expand our.
expand the search or actually go do the more than difficulty 3 one. Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Okay. I haven't looked lately, so been a little busy. You know, they say the best way to ruin your caching career is open a geocaching business, and yeah, definitely been the case here for Q4, getting everything out. Where I see some of you are like wearing and sporting some things that I have shipped recently, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's about it for us. Hopefully, well, I'll give you all a hint. one of the reasons I'm talking about tonight is publishing caches. It's related to the next Geo Challenge of the month, which will be dropping on Sunday. It's not it, but new caches will definitely help. So that's another reason I want to get more folks out there hiding new caches or sharing what's worked well for them in getting caches published and or challenges. Maybe we can workshop some challenges that some of us might have come across in publishing caches. And I know it is different in different areas. Some communities have kind of different standards. Some reviewers have kind of different ways of approving caches and working with the caching community. So yeah, so I want to hear it all. I guess we'll go ahead and jump into that topic then. And I see Scott has his hand up. So yeah, would you like to kick it off for us, Scott?
I'll kick it off. I have a list of 4 things, and I'm going to talk about one, and then I'll let somebody else talk, and I'll hopefully get through all 4 before your deadline.
Perfect.
One thing that I really want to stress is that the viewers want to publish your cache. They're just there to make sure that you're following the guidelines. So if they come back and they've rejected it, read carefully what they've told you and then try and correct them. It's not an individual against you or anything. They want that cache to publish. It just has to meet all the guidelines. And, and I think some people don't realize that, but they definitely want to get that out there. Okay, that's it for this time.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I've had so many cashers reach out to me thinking that I have sway with HQ and reviewers, and I'm not a reviewer, and I'm not employed by HQ, just a business partner with them. And they want me to, run interference for them with their reviewer. And really it's just no, read what they said. And also, if you haven't heard, maybe you just didn't get the memo, and you need to go to your cache page and read the notes there on your unpublished cache. And yeah, I agree. They're just trying to help us make the game better and safer for all of us. So yeah, yeah, that's good advice.
I think we also might, in our minds as hiders and finders, ascribe to the reviewers more power than they actually have, right? And and we tend to think the reviewer is the face of geocaching, and if they, we disagree with the reviewer, not with the guidelines. If we disagree with the guidelines, and but the well, I haven't dealt with a ton of reviewers, right? So we have what's here, and what is here is really good because it's a conversation. Not well, no, you can't do this, so I'm not going to publish it. And and it says, well, here's a little challenge we got to overcome. How you're severely violating everything there is about publishing, things like that. And so the times that I've had, I think it was just one. I think it was an event where I did not understand the guideline, and it took my reviewer a couple tries to get me to come around and understand what that was. The only other times I've had a reviewer say, no, we can't publish it is because I was within proximity of a stage,
Oh,
yeah, like a multi or a puzzle final, something like that. It's just, and and they must go to reviewer training school because when that happens, I say, oh, well, which cache is that? And now they have every answer except which cache that one is. So.
Yeah. Good points. Scott?
Yeah, well, just so our reviewers will in fact tell you what cache it is, but they're not going to tell you what the final coordinates are or give you anything that would let you find out the final coordinates. Happen to be going through that right now where I am trying to publish a cache and it was too close to something. I uh, moved it and now it's too close to something else.
Oh,
Mhm.
no.
No,
And,
no.
and that gets me right to my next point, which is coordinate checks.
Yes.
Submit submit a coordinate check before you set your cache or before you spend a whole lot of time on the cache page. Put in a coordinate check. Just write up a basic page. I mean, it's basically coordinate check. It's this type of cache. It's this size cache. It's and here are the final coordinates. And is this going to meet the guidelines?
Yeah.
And they will review it and they will tell you if it does or doesn't, and then you can correct it before you put in a lot of work to it. So and and they, at least our reviewers, actually prefer that as getting into a conversation and saying, it's too close to another cache or some other
Mhm.
violation um,
Yeah.
of the guidelines.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a really good idea. A lot of people don't realize that they can reach out to a reviewer first. And I think that's something that, that information needs to get out there. Now, you can just start the cache page, not intending to publish it right away. And just like you said, put in the coordinates and then reach out to your local reviewer and ask, is this going to be, um, is this a good location? Is this going to be interfering with another waypoint of some sort? And you can even share your ideas with them too, what you want to do, and they can certainly help you in putting those together.
Mhm.
Yeah, so good
And
suggestion.
I guess I would also just to just to forewarn us for 2 weeks from now, do that with Earth Cache with
Yes.
the Earth Cache with the Earth Cache people. It really is helpful to have that conversation in advance.
Oh, I bet.
Hmm.
Yeah, because there's so much work in just putting together an Earth cache. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sorry about the helo noise, guys. But it's good to see him, right? He's going more and more deaf, so he yells more and more loudly, or meows. We call it yelling.
Mhm.
All right, we've got a couple of hands have come up.
It was Vince.
With Vince was first. Okay, Vince.
Yeah, like I said earlier, we're getting ready to, publish or have our winter series. It's one of like two or three of these winter series that comes out in our local area. And I usually, like the three of us that are into, we kind of got a sock puppet account that we put it through. But I just said, well, make sure we get them submitted for review, well in advance so, if we get the old, dreaded proximity error, so then we've got, time to quick make some adjustments and,
Yeah.
Find another spot. The one exception to that is like each of us are responsible to hide five hides, while my fifth one is actually going to be in an area that I'm going to recycle one of my old hides. So that one I know I'm not going to have a problem with the proximity error because once I archive my old one, the new one will be good to go.
Yeah.
So I just have to, we just make sure we give them their usual, at least a week's worth or whatever to get them reviewed. And then yeah, that's good to go. And I've had newer cachers reach out to me too, as far as like, what's the deal with with the spacing rules? And I says, well, the lone exception to the 528-foot rule is, of course, stages that belong to the same multi that are, those ones can be as close to each other as they want.
Right.
They just can't be closer than 528 feet to a stage of another multi.
Right. The
Mhm.
physical
Because like
state.
I've got a
Yeah.
multi out that they're all physical stages, but they're all only like they're in a triangle, like 100 to 150 feet apart.
Mhm.
So they easily can squeeze it in a small area.
Right. Yeah, that's some good points. Yeah, and that's where it gets confusing. You also have your virtual waypoints and your physical waypoints, and those impact location as well. So Yeah, we've done that many times here when we've put on our coin challenges, where we've working with another cacher, use their location as something that they've agreed to archive and just have them hang on to it until it's time for us to publish. So that spot is not taken. Scott, go ahead.
You just said virtual locations can affect, virtual locations don't affect.
Right. Oh, did I say it backwards? Yeah.
No, you said both. You said virtuals
Mhm.
and physicals
Mhm.
can interfere.
Mhm.
Virtual locations don't interfere.
Don't.
You could have a virtual location much, closer than 528.
So I'll add to the confusion. So like lab adventures? I said it backwards. I said.
Oh, goodness. Oh, God. Ugh. I seem to have a growth on my shoulder.
So Vince, your trail, the first one you're going to publish, how many does your team plan on publishing?
We've got plan on publishing 14. They're all going to have, a code in them, and then you collect the code, and then you put the code that's going to spell something out, put the codes together, and then that'll get you the bonus. Um, I was going to add something now that just because Scott reminded me of something. I know he was home about a year and a half ago, and he asked me for a container, and then he was going to go find a place to set a cache. Well, then he got a note back from Ken saying that he was too close to one of mine. Well, then he got a real chuckle that I told him, yeah, he landed too close to the final. I had a reverse Werigo out, and he missed my reverse Werigo by 20 feet.
Oh my gosh.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he had a magnetic. It was on one of those green utility boxes, and I had a bison tube for my reverse Werigo in the pine tree, like 20 feet away. And I said, "Wow, you hit that one pretty close." I just wonder if that's happened to anybody else where you've landed like ridiculously close to somebody else's hide.
I was just going to ask that. How many of us have done that? Gone to go find a place, you're looking for a place to hide a cache, and lo and behold, there's another cache there. Yep. It's happened to a couple of us for sure. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. I think it was
We had Melissa.
Yeah, and then Jim Starcasher.
Yeah, since I've been in the process of hiding this Paw Patrol series very slowly, part of it is because they have a little Paw Patrol finger puppet. I wasn't sure if they would be very stolen a lot. So the first few I put out and really have given them time. And so far, I have not had one taken. I do have them double zip tied to whatever I put them on. And so now I'm trying to get more of them out. But I guess my recommendation is make friends with your reviewer. He's been very helpful. And I know one of the ones, it was too close to a school. Now, I knew that was a school building, but it didn't have a school there anymore. But it has it's like a special needs school or something that meets there. It's not one of the local schools. And I'm like, oh yeah, that would be a problem. And found a different place. But I'm specifically with my series trying to have them, I want them to be kid friendly. So I'm trying to have them near playgrounds, but I also know there are people who aren't with kids. So I'm trying to have them near playgrounds, but not near the playground equipment.
Okay.
So I find good holes and then I go out and yeah, there's not a good place to place it here though, even though I'm not going to overlap with somebody. So, but like I said, I've got two of them out that just need to get published, but one I was waiting on approval from the borough. because I thought it was in one borough. And I was talking with a friend and he's like, no, it's this borough. And he said, and I've got a request into him. I'll just tag your request on mine.
Oh,
So
wow.
he gave me the thumbs up yesterday that we had approval.
Oh, good, good. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's another issue that definitely comes up a lot is landowner or manager approval to actually hide something there.
right,
That's something, we don't always have to have it, but it's really not a bad idea.
right.
For sure. Just so they know that it's there. I remember looking for a cache in a back alley of a Walmart in Tri-Cities actually. And I was with my niece at the time, and we were there down for the one of the cash machines. It was before your time, hon. And looking for it, and it turned out it was they had a like a cinder block wall, and you lift up the top cinder, and it was inside of that one, the top flat one. And sure enough, the manager of the Walmart came out like, "What are y'all doing?" You know, they had no idea it was there. But the issue was that the hider had received permission, but they've been a management change since then. So it turned out okay. I told them I would take it if they wanted me to, or I could leave it. And I showed them all the information and like, you can just leave it. So I did message the cash owner and said, it's time for you to refresh your relationship with this particular Walmart. But and I've also seen other caches that have been hidden on what somebody thought was private or public property, but it was actually private, and they got in trouble. Not them, but a finder um, seeking it almost got arrested for trespassing. So you got to think about people that are finding your caches too, and what experiences that they might be having. So good points.
Mhm.
Anyway, we've got many more hands have come up. I've lost track of the
Jim.
order. Is it Jim next? Oh yeah,
Jim.
Jim, and yeah.
Well, just I've mentioned before that I have a hiding streak going that uh going back, which I just looked it up just to refresh myself. It goes back to December of 2015. So that means that when I hide December's, I'll be starting my 11th year of a monthly hiding streak.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So I've already done 10 years. December will be my 11th, start my 11th. So that's kind of a accomplishment there. But and it's at least hiding at least one in a month. Sometimes I've done more than one, but it's at least one. It's actually at least one physical too. Because with my virtual, I did a physical too. So, anyways, uh, but one of the things that most of mine are either in the city of Toledo, or there's a couple of villages. They're park districts, which basically we have a blanket. It's okay to hide geocaches there as long as you're not damaging anything. So I don't have to seek permissions or any. I just find a place I can hide it. Whatever. That's no big deal. Or it's in a public, guardrails and street signs and stuff like that. That is in the public. I do have a few that are on private property, and and there's a couple that were in the countywide park district, but they require a little bit of a rigmarole in getting permission and having approvals and all that stuff. So and they have like a 2-year limit. So that's kind of I haven't gone back to them because it's a little bit more of a difficulty thing. But since I do have to keep hiding things every month, I have like a folder where I have probably about 50 different ideas of where I could hide a cache. And whenever I like drive around, I'll see someplace, and I don't know if you can see, I'll print off the satellite picture saying, oh yeah, that park would be a good place to put one. Or at the end of this dead end street, there's a good place to put one. Or
Oh.
or look at this, I have the map, and let's see, right there I could squeeze in one right there.
Mhm.
So I have a folder with like 50 of these potential locations, so that when it comes to a new month, I can just flip through the folder and say, oh, okay, well, you know what? That one's been there for like 5 years I've been planning on doing that one, and then I'll choose to do that one because and on all these, well, most of them, there's a couple like that one is a private property, but most of these are obviously public. But and I also have things like I have a series of caches down a trail, and I've been doing that for what 2 years now. I've mentioned it again on this thing. The next one in that series, however, is the best location is on a private property, and so I do need to contact that person, get permission. I haven't done that, so I kind of put that series on hold. Well, maybe till after the holidays, and I'll try to contact them. You know, but so I've been doing some of my folder, the hidden places for the last couple of months. That's because I didn't have permission to do it. Put it in the next one in the series. So it's been interesting. Trying to do one a month for that long.
So I wanted to ask you because I am not a prolific hider, and the times I go to hide, from time to time, the process of submitting seems to have changed.
Yeah, every time.
So what has been your experience following these changes throughout the 10, 11 years now?
It's been fairly the same since after my first few, where the reviewer would ask me quite a few questions, but now he knows me, and he knows I'm fairly good at getting my coordinates, and and I always tell him exactly how it's hidden and all that stuff. I know what to say. The only problems I have is when it maybe like one time was right next to, well, it's a pumping station, sewage pumping station, and so he questioned whether or not, whether if I hide it there, whether there'd be some issues with people looking suspicious, whatever,
Right.
and so he asked some of those questions if I pick up spots like that, but I generally try to avoid those, but every now and then it happens. But yeah, but like I said, he knows me, and actually there's a couple of my series of caches that he enjoys looking at because he just and he actually asked me when I met him at one of the mega events. It's like he noticed that I hadn't done it for a couple of years. I haven't continued that series, and it's because I'm so far behind in my logging that it's affecting. I know I don't know if you want to know a cache centroid. If you've heard of that, it's if you hide all your caches you found, where on earth would be the centroid?
Interesting.
Well, I'm so far behind in logging that I don't really know where my centroid is. So I kind of stopped hiding ones in that series. But he was enjoying watching my centroid move every 6 months. So, and so he asked why I haven't done one lately, and I told him, well, I'm behind in logging, so I don't really want to put it where it says it is now. So, anyways, I need to catch up on my logging so I can start doing that series again.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, so the centroid is the caches that you've hidden, or all the ones you found?
All the ones I found.
Found.
So,
Okay.
yeah. If it was hidden, that'd be up to date on that, obviously, because
you
don't log that. But yeah, it's all the caches you found. If you average their location, would be someplace someplace inside the earth, because
sure,
you're doing the surface, and then the centroid is the point on the surface directly above that location.
Oh, interesting. Does Project GC do that, or?
Yeah, that's who does that.
Okay.
But you can also you can do a GSAC will do one, but there is a slight difference. I'm not sure what the difference is between the two, but I use the Project GC because it just tells me right in my stats page, here's your centroid right now.
Okay. Interesting. Well, thank you for that tidbit. Now I gotta go look.
Yeah, it depends on if you do a lot all over the place, it might be a long ways away from your home. For me, it's about 50 miles. Well, at least it was, if about 50 miles to the south uh, west of me is where it was. So it's close enough that I can actually go and hide a cache close to where that centroid is.
Right.
You know, on a utility pole or signpost or something in that area. So it was at least it was close enough. I don't know if I do all my logs.
Yeah.
I don't know where it'll end up, but I'm sure I'm assuming it's still going to be close.
Yeah. Well, fascinating. Now I got to go research that. Yeah. When we get back from our appointment tonight.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, thank
yeah.
you.
We got-
Good stuff.
Tom has been waiting patiently,
Yeah,
so
he has.
go ahead,
Yeah,
Tom.
so last year I went and hit a letterbox cache and liked the place I had it. Turned it in, gave the coordinates. I was about 490 feet from one of my own. So I went and moved my first one about 60 feet away. So it would be they would both be usable. That was yeah. I've had a few that I was too close to something else that I had put in, especially those mystery caches that I did for the Olympic rings.
Mm.
Uh, so the yeah, one of my favorite geocachers. Uh, he's 81 years old. He went out and found over 50 of mine yesterday,
Really?
and said
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
the caches are all in good shape, and he liked my coordinates. So
Perfect.
that
Good work.
yeah. So
Very
yeah,
good.
that's it for.
Hmm.
Oh, well, thank you, Tom. Yeah. Scott.
So speaking of accurate coordinates, uh, got two things that I can offer and one thing I can ask. One, if you're using a GPS, the GPSs have the waypoint averaging feature.
Mm-hmm.
Use the waypoint averaging feature. If you just grab, I mean, we've all been out there and we've seen our GZ bounce all over the place. Well, that's what happens if you get one coordinate for your GC. So if you waypoint average, um, it really can be much more accurate, much more helpful. The other thing I will add is for Android users, and I just put this in the chat, GPS Point is an app for Androids that will waypoint average. Um, and it's a really nice app. And I will say I have taken that app and I've taken my GPS, set them next to each other, got the coordinates, and they will be 1/1000th off from each other. So waypoint averaged, it works very, very well. I have a lot of faith in my coordinates. Um, and but the ask is I have asked if there's the equivalent in iOS, and nobody has shown me that there is an equivalent. So if anybody is aware that there's an equivalent, I would love you to send it to GSMX2, GSM times two, and let me know what the app is. That's
Yeah.
it.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that app. We're Android users ourselves, and there used to be an Android app. I think it was called GPS averaging. That worked great way
Mhm.
back in the day. And then somebody took it over and it became spamware that was on your in your machine. And the entire app changed. And that was really frustrating. It took me a while to figure that out and get that off of my machine when that happened. But that was a long time
This
ago.
does not seem to be spamware. It doesn't have
Yeah.
advertising
Mhm.
and the capability I love about it is after you've taken your readings, you can share it by email. You can email it to yourself, and that way, when I am typing in my waypoint, I'm copy pasting it, not typing it.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was gonna say. You can averaging all day long isn't a big help if you don't type the right numbers in the
Yeah.
right order.
Right. Yeah.
Not that I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Do you have your dyslexics untie sign?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Sure. Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
you guys reminded me of a tip that has worked well for me and for folks that want to hide a geocache, and they just have their phone, and to get those coordinates, one way to do it is to pull up another geocache. Could be one of your own or a nearby one, and then add a waypoint and set your phone down, just like what Chris had said in the chat, that you just let your phone sit there a while to settle it down and add that waypoint and then give it a name. And that would be where you'd be hiding your next cache or the next waypoint or however you're working that in. So that's one way to get coordinates that you don't have to copy paste. Cool. Well, let's see. Scott, did you have, oh, I'm sorry, Tom, go ahead, Tom.
So I
Got on
started using GPS before geocaching was invented in the 1990s. And I used to go out and find state forest corners. And I would sit on a corner for three-minute shots. And then I brought it back to the office and used differential correction, which would put a red spot in among the 180 spots that I had in the circle. And that was what I would use for the corner. And I was probably within 2 or 3 feet on those. So,
Okay.
yep. And yeah, okay. So this is my newest toy. It has something in common with the first GPS that I used. It is rechargeable.
Ooh,
Just imagine how many millions of AA batteries have been used in the last 25 years.
Yep.
just for geocaching, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, those were the days. Now we have to carry around power banks, keep our phones going. Vince, go ahead, Vince.
Yeah, another method that I've used that I found is quite useful now. This only works if you're in a good, like, urbanized area where there's a lot of distinguishable features. But like, I'll use my geocaching app like CGeo and I'll put it in satellite mode.
Mhm.
And like, if let's say I'm setting a final, like, under a like an LPC, you can easily find the LPC that you're going to hide it in a parking lot, zoom it in, and then then I'll tap my finger on the screen, and then I'll set a waypoint, and then it's right on. Or, but of course that method won't work if you're trying to hide something in the middle of the woods. But, if it's in an area where there's a lot of distinguishable features, or like if you're hiding something in a gazebo or, on a utility box, if you can find it on your satellite on the map, I find that way works quite useful too. I've placed many caches that way.
Yeah, I've done the same as well, just to make sure that the coordinates that I did get line up with what's on the map, and hopefully all of those align. So, yeah, I do remember caching one time in Canada. I was using my Delorme, um, my PN60, and everything was about 60 feet off suddenly in Canada. Their maps were not lined up right. That was really frustrating, but that was a long time ago, and technology has gotten so much better. So I love using that satellite view. Oh, that's what it was. It was metric. Okay. Well, we've got 4 minutes left before we have our hard stop. So I've got Jim and then Lori.
Okay, so well, regarding rechargeable GPS units, I always used rechargeable batteries on my GPS unit and never, that's just what you do. It's better than having a rechargeable unit that you can't charge in the field. You just change the batteries.
Mhm.
Um, and averaging coordinates. I've always had GPS units that average coordinates, but at the end of the day, I would always average 100 waypoints and then just take one, not averaged one. And that last one that was based on sitting there for 5 or 10 minutes while it averaged was always the best one.
Oh,
So that's something to consider too. There's a lot, even if you can't average, just let it settle for a long time and you'll likely get very good coordinates. So
Makes sense. Yeah, and your caches are always right on point. So
well,
especially
thank you.
when we're using the same GPS unit.
yes,
Then-
that helps too. Yeah.
Now I do have a story, quick story.
Yeah.
Years ago, I bought an eBay GPS and I took it out. And fortunately, I had my other one to compare it. And the one I got from eBay was like 200 feet off, and I couldn't figure it out. I finally went home, thought about it, checked the unit, and it was in a different map datum than what we use. So
Mhm.
that can happen. Anyway, I'll let you go. Let somebody else talk.
I remember those days. Yeah. Is it WSG 84 or something? Yeah. Lori, go ahead, Lori.
So while I got a good field here, I found this really cool thing. It's a
Sharpie?
Sharpie, thank you. But the Sharpie comes off and it's blank inside.
Oh.
I want ideas of how I could put this into a cache, and the logbook is inside here,
Mhm.
but the container's in the logbook, or I mean in the cache.
In another cache.
Yeah.
Okay.
How could you do it so that they're not like writing all over your ammo can or whatever container thinking they're signing the logbook? So thoughts.
My first thought would just be something in the write-up or the title that would help distinguish that something about your
It's
I
all
don't
in
know.
your hand.
Yeah.
I
So
would.
I've come up with a few things, but yeah,
Is this going to be inside a container, you said?
Mhm.
possibly.
I would put it, me being evil, would put it inside a container, like a ammo can,
Mhm.
and then in the write-up say bring your own pen. Don't leave anything else there to sign with. And
Yeah, but
then
then
when
my
the,
thoughts is they would start writing like on the ammo can and signing the ammo can, thinking that's the logbook.
Or just toss a log inside the container. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
well, make sure that doesn't, I don't know how you can, make sure it isn't functional.
Oh, it
Yeah.
is functional. It is a functioning one. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
but yeah,
Hmm. I
black
like
ammo can, black
Black
Sharpie.
Sharpie. So I can't use it to write on. Yeah.
My other thought is inside of an ammo can, putting a whole bunch of red herrings, and
Mhm.
they're opening them all up and going, where's the logbook?
That's hilarious. Yeah, I just up the difficulty for sure so they know what they're getting into. I don't know.
Yeah.
Any
Like
ideas,
Dale's
guys?
saying, place a bunch and say find which one.
Fine. Okay. Could be a whole bunch of pens. Yeah, and
Mhm.
only one has the actual log in it.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, just like, an ammo can full of film canisters, and only one has
Mm-hmm.
the actual
Yeah.
log
Oh,
inside of it.
I may or may not have something similar to that. Maybe it buys 20 bisons that you have to go through.
Yeah.
Um,
It's evil.
It's evil.
I did one like that with empty Sharpies.
Oh, she did. Okay.
Hmm.
Seen an
so
LPC with a Bic. Yep, I have too. Something like that.
yeah,
I've
I
also seen.
realized,
Hmm?
yeah, I realized today that I've hidden 2 finds this year. And if I do one more, then I am ineligible for a virtual again next year. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and I've had this for a while, probably about 2 months, trying to figure out what to do with it. So
You can also ask Chat GPT. I've
So while you're doing that,
Yeah.
Heather
Oh.
in YouTube says I found a pen hide like that
Mhm.
here in Portland. It was just a pen wedged in a stop sign. I accidentally took it home because I just thought I had found a pen.
Oh no.
I will have to tease Heather next time I see her.
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Found out it was a cash. She had to return it.
She has to
Hey, free
go.
pen. I could see you doing that. Well, guys, drinks are full price. I love this conversation. But we do have to drive ourselves over to Idaho. We've been invited
Way over there.
way over there, yeah. And we're doing a Christmas light cruise, I guess. A gift from, yeah.
Ooh. On the
On
lake?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, on Lake Coeur
Oh my
d'Alene.
goodness, that should be beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it usually is, although it's been rainy and awful weather here. So
Yeah.
hopefully it's supposed to be nicer this evening.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was a gift from our realtor that has become a good friend of ours too. We've bought and sold houses through him. So tonight's episode is sponsored by our holiday mystery box. I'm going to put the link in here. Um, they're on sale now. They're $33. And as you all know, we do these every holiday around the holidays. And then we also generally do one Christmas in July too. So it's really good stuff that we've pulled out of our goodies vault. If you are a Cash Crate member or have received that Advent box, you might see some things similar. But we also have many other fun items that are going into those. They're all different. It's not a set item like our Cash Crates where everybody gets the same thing. These are all going to be a little bit different. So check them out. They're going on this weekend, and then we're going to start shipping next week, and looking like we might just sell out. So get yours, order early, order soon, that sort of thing. And yeah, I guess we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Leaning towards talking more about Earth caches and getting those published. 'Cause that's one thing I have never done. I have never hidden an Earth cache, and I'm overdue. So I'd love feedback and help on getting that done. All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you all same cache time, same cache channel. Bye. Good night.